Geniuses need love. Two. It's 2 in the morning. No, 1:44. Excuse me. I should be asleep, but for some reason my turn clock is off. Um. So I'm on YouTube and I see Vibrational Tiffany's latest post, number 71, and this is actually a direct response to that. In it, she talks about a couple of things. How what she does. How she's telling her experiences as a biracial person. You know, what does it do positively? Does it detach from the overall, problem or issue? You know, and she does that in relation of Obama winning. And my thoughts are, I can see how talking about being biracial can detach from Obama, winning, or not identifying himself as being biracial, because Obama has on the team. I love it. Pay me, Arizona, has identified himself many times as a black man, and and as a biracial person who is half black, half white, I feel as a black person he has the right to identify himself as a black man. And as mentioned earlier by, I believe, her, it is so much more important for him to identify himself as a black man and the win the presidency than as a biracial man who won the presidency. It means so much more to a lot more people, and it's a beautiful thing. Now, not to discount her experiences as a biracial person, because I believe that biracial people have a much harder time, because they do have to grow up with the whole view of who am I, where do I fit in, and and I don't believe biracial Tiffany. I believe she actually stated that in her last one. Um, I don't know. She edits so fast, and it's choppy sometimes, and it gets me, and I have to rewatch. But yeah, that she understood why, and that's a great thing to understand. Why Barack Obama identifies as so that, and she was talking about, like, she didn't understand any positive. It's a great thing what she's doing. Listen to me, biracial Tiffany. It's a great thing what you're doing. You're getting up. You're doing something. Yeah, you're doing something that a lot of people aren't brave enough to do. Is to get on the internet, show your face, and talk maturely about yourself and the problem. And excuse my French, that's some real shit. And and there's not a lot of people who do that, who portray real shit in their lives, just stuff they go through, and you know, and a lot of things you talk about, whether you believe it or not. Me as a black person, not only me as a black person, me as a black person who grew up in a white neighborhood and then went to a black college, went to all white high school, and then went to a black college. You know, lived in a white neighborhood when he was home, but during the summer, stayed with his grandmother in the deep south in a whole black neighborhood. You know, can ironically enough can identify with a lot of things you say. I'm like, oh, yeah, yeah, oh, yeah. So I think if it can help me, you know, well, I'm pretty. I'm heavily black. At the very least I'm a 75 percenter. But I'm sorry. But if you have, I'm sure there's a lot of people who are there. You know, they're not stupid ones, but a lot of people who actually sit and listen to you. Listen to your words instead of oh, stop babbling your race. If they sit and listen to the words you say, they can glean a lot of stuff, if not just accidentally. Um, you talked about disenfranchisement of black people over the years, and white privilege. That's something I've talked about. I don't blame white people for slavery. If your family, even if your family didn't own slaves, good for your family. Even if you did, they don't own them now. So, like, why should I be mad at you? But what a lot of people, white people, don't understand is that when the slaves were free, my great grandparents, yeah, because people in my family are old. My great grandparents, maybe your great great grandparents, because my parents are old. So, but my great grandparents could not buy a house. They couldn't. They had to build one if they wanted out. They could not buy a house. They could not get a house. They could not own land. It was hard for them to do. Yeah, try being black in Dallas and being black in Texas and owning land. See how well that worked out for you. Go ahead, I'll wait. All right. Whereas your parents could, and so that established a basis for actual credit and whatnot, and thus money and then thus jobs. So that's that's white privilege. Like, you may be well off today because of hard work and stuff, but you were allowed to do that hard work. Whereas black people, once they were released from slavery, were forced to be sharecroppers again and pretty much slaves because they didn't get paid for shit. They just sharecroppers lived on land. So, that's white privilege in a nutshell, as it is. And biracial Tiffany is right. There are people who choose to be ignorant, and that's another thing. And me as a black person, I can't be ignorant. I mean, I can be ignorant, but I'll end up on the news, and I'll just be just another dumb nigger. I refuse to be that in my life, ever. White people can have the luxury of ignorance, oftentimes without major consequences on a national, global level that affects them as a race. If one white person is ignorant, that's that one ignorant person. Not even that one ignorant white person. If one black person is ignorant and it's caught on camera, just like them niggas. And it's just one of those things that, we have to deal with. But like my friend said, we're not oppressed anymore. We have a black man in the White House. And now kids can look up and say, oh, he's black. He's white too. I'm not discounting that. He's white too. But he has chosen to identify himself as a black man because he understands that. He understood at a very young age when he started to do that he was going to do something for the greater good, and it would help a whole lot more if he had started to identify himself as an African American than as a mixed person. And look where it is now. We have a black president. So this was just, a little response because I couldn't sleep, and I felt, it was heavy in my heart, right here, just cupped. But yeah, I hope this clears some things up for everybody. And yep. Peace and love too. Peace. Ghetto fade out. Ghetto fade out.